Creatine before and after. 6 common mistakes that turn creatine into poison. And yes, some of these could genuinely be fatal. That tub of creatine sitting on your counter right now? It is either building you into a stronger, more powerful version of yourself, or it is slowly working against you because of mistakes you do not even know you are making. I am not here to scare you away from one of the most researched and effective supplements on the planet. I am here because I watched someone I trained with end up in the emergency room with kidney complications, and when we traced it back, it was not the creatine itself, it was how he was using it. 6 critical errors. That is all it takes to flip this muscle-building powerhouse into something that actively harms you. And before we dive in, if you want my exclusive 30-day fitness plus creatine combination guide that shows you exactly how to use this supplement for maximum results without any of the risks, drop the word "ready" in the comments right now, and I will send it straight to you. Now let us break down these 6 mistakes so you never make them. Mistake 1. Chronic dehydration, the silent kidney killer. Let us start with the mistake that sends more people to doctors than any other creatine-related issue, and ironically, it is the simplest one to fix. You are not drinking enough water, and I do not mean you are a little bit thirsty sometimes. I mean you are systematically dehydrating yourself while taking a supplement that literally requires water to function. Here is what happens inside your body when you take creatine. The creatine molecules travel to your muscle cells and begin a process called cellular volumization. In simple terms, your muscles start pulling water from your bloodstream and surrounding tissues directly into the muscle fibers themselves. This is actually one of the reasons creatine works so well. Those hydrated muscle cells can produce more energy, recover faster, and yes, they look fuller and more impressive. It is one of the reasons people love the creatine before and after transformation photos. But here is where it becomes dangerous. Your body operates on a delicate fluid balance. Your brain needs water. Your kidneys need water to filter waste. Your heart needs proper blood volume to pump efficiently. When your muscles suddenly become water-hungry sponges and you have not increased your fluid intake, something has to give. Your body starts robbing water from these essential systems to feed your muscles, and that is when problems begin. The kidneys are particularly vulnerable here. Think about what your kidneys actually do. They filter approximately 150 quarts of blood every single day, removing waste products including creatinine, which is a byproduct of creatine metabolism. When you are dehydrated, your blood becomes more concentrated, which means your kidneys have to work significantly harder to filter the same amount of waste. Now add supplemental creatine to that equation, which increases creatinine levels, and you are asking already stressed kidneys to handle an even larger workload with fewer resources. Chronic dehydration while using creatine does not just cause uncomfortable symptoms like headaches, muscle cramps, and fatigue, although those are certainly annoying enough to ruin your training. Over months and years, this pattern can contribute to kidney stones, reduced kidney function, and in extreme cases, acute kidney injury. I have seen blood work from guys who thought they were doing everything right, and their kidney markers were elevated specifically because they were treating water intake as optional rather than essential. The solution requires a complete mindset shift. Water is not something you drink when you are thirsty. When you are supplementing with creatine, water becomes as important as the supplement itself. You should be consuming at minimum 1 gallon of water per day. And if you are training intensely, sweating heavily, or living in a hot climate, you need even more. Get a large water bottle that you keep with you at all times. Set reminders on your phone if you have to. Make it non-negotiable. Your kidneys will thank you, and so will your gains. Mistake 2. The megadosing mentality that destroys your gut and organs. I need you to hear something that goes against everything the fitness industry has conditioned you to believe. More is not better. More is not even more. When it comes to creatine, more is just expensive urine and a destroyed digestive system. I get the logic. You are ambitious. You want results yesterday. You see the recommended dose of 3 to 5 grams and think to yourself, if 5 grams gives me these results, then 15 grams must give me 3 times the results. This is the same thinking that makes people double their pre-workout and end up with heart palpitations. It does not work that way. And with creatine specifically, you are playing a dangerous game. Your muscles have a creatine saturation point, and that point is non-negotiable. Picture a sponge that can only hold a certain amount of water. Once it is saturated, you can pour an entire ocean on it, and it will not absorb another drop. The excess just runs off. Your muscle cells work identically. Once they are fully saturated with creatine phosphate, any additional creatine you consume has nowhere to go. So where does this excess creatine end up? First, it sits in your gastrointestinal tract, and this is where you will feel the immediate consequences. Unabsorbed creatine is osmotically active, which means it pulls water into your intestines. This leads to bloating that makes you look 6 months pregnant, stomach cramps that can be genuinely debilitating, and diarrhea that will have you sprinting to the bathroom instead of sprinting on the track. I have seen guys completely abandon creatine because they thought it disagreed with them, when the real problem was simply taking too much at once. The longer-term concern involves your filtering organs. That excess creatine still needs to leave your body somehow, and that job falls to your kidneys and liver. While healthy organs can handle this extra workload, why would you voluntarily stress them for zero additional benefit? It is like revving your car engine to the red line while parked. You are just causing wear and tear for no reason. The science on this is crystal clear. 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day is sufficient to achieve and maintain muscle saturation. Studies have tested higher doses and found no additional benefits in terms of strength, power, or muscle gains. You are literally flushing money down the toilet, except you are also potentially harming yourself in the process. Stick to the research-backed dose. Be patient. Let the creatine do its job without trying to rush the process. Your body, your wallet, and your bathroom will all appreciate it. Mistake 3. Ignoring the loading phase and wondering why nothing is happening. Now let me address the opposite end of the spectrum, and honestly, this might be why some of you gave up on creatine entirely. You heard about this supplement that was supposed to increase your strength, improve your recovery, and help you build muscle faster. You bought a tub, started taking your daily 5 grams, waited a week, waited 2 weeks, felt absolutely nothing different, and decided creatine was overhyped nonsense that does not work for you. Here is what actually happened. You skipped the loading phase, and you did not give the supplement enough time to accumulate in your system. You essentially gave up right before the magic was about to start. Let me explain the physiology here so this makes sense. Your muscles can store a certain amount of creatine phosphate, and this storage capacity is what we are trying to maximize. When you start taking creatine, you are gradually filling up these stores. The problem is that with a standard daily dose of 3 to 5 grams, this filling process takes approximately 3 to 4 weeks before you reach saturation. During that entire month, you might feel virtually nothing because your muscle creatine levels are still climbing toward the threshold where benefits become noticeable. The loading phase is a research-backed strategy to dramatically accelerate this timeline. Instead of waiting a month, you can achieve full saturation in approximately 1 week. Here is exactly how it works. For 5 to 7 days, you take approximately 20 grams of creatine per day, but you split this into 4 separate 5-gram doses spread throughout the day. You might take 1 serving with breakfast, 1 with lunch, 1 with dinner, and 1 before bed. This splitting is important because it prevents the gastrointestinal distress we discussed in mistake number 2. During this loading week, you are rapidly filling your muscle creatine stores to maximum capacity. By day 7, you are at the same saturation point that would have taken 3 to 4 weeks to reach with standard dosing. After the loading phase ends, you drop down to the normal maintenance dose of 3 to 5 grams per day, which is sufficient to keep those stores topped off. Why does this matter for your results? Because you will actually feel the creatine working much sooner. Within that first week or 2 after loading, you should notice increased strength and power output, especially on those final difficult repetitions. Your muscles may look fuller and more volumized from the increased water retention in the muscle cells. You might experience improved recovery between sets and between training sessions. These noticeable effects are what keep you motivated and consistent, which is ultimately what drives long-term progress. If you skipped loading and are currently in weeks 1 or 2 of creatine use, you have 2 options. You can initiate a loading phase now to accelerate your results, or you can simply be patient and wait the additional time for gradual saturation. Either approach works. But if you tried creatine before and quit because you did not feel anything, now you know why, and you can approach it correctly this time. Mistake 4. Treating creatine as a standalone solution while ignoring medical realities. This mistake is not about optimization or efficiency. This mistake is about genuine medical safety, and I need everyone to understand something important. Creatine is one of the most thoroughly researched and safest supplements available for healthy individuals. The key phrase there is for healthy individuals. If you have any pre-existing condition affecting your kidneys, your liver, or your cardiovascular system, the rules change entirely. What is safe and beneficial for someone with fully functioning organs can become dangerous for someone whose filtering and processing systems are already compromised. Let me explain why kidneys specifically matter so much here. Your kidneys are responsible for filtering creatinine, which is the waste product created when your body uses creatine for energy. Under normal circumstances, healthy kidneys handle this task efficiently and without stress. But if you have any degree of kidney dysfunction, whether from diabetes, high blood pressure, autoimmune conditions, or any other cause, your kidneys are already working harder than they should to perform their basic functions. Adding supplemental creatine to this situation means adding to an already heavy workload. Your compromised kidneys now need to filter additional creatinine on top of everything else. Over time, this extra burden can accelerate the progression of kidney disease. What might have been a manageable condition could potentially worsen more quickly. In severe cases, particularly if someone has significant kidney impairment they are unaware of, creatine supplementation could contribute to acute kidney injury, which is a medical emergency. The same logic applies to liver conditions. Your liver processes numerous substances, including components of creatine metabolism, and a compromised liver should not be given extra work without medical guidance. I am not saying that everyone with any health condition must avoid creatine forever. Many people with controlled health issues can safely supplement under proper medical supervision. What I am saying is that you need to know your baseline health status before you begin, and you need professional guidance if there are any question marks in your medical history. Here is what responsible supplementation looks like. Before starting creatine, especially if you are over 35, if you have any chronic health conditions, if you have a family history of kidney or liver disease, or if you take any medications, schedule an appointment with your doctor. Be completely transparent about your fitness goals and your intention to use creatine. Request baseline blood work, including kidney function markers like blood urea nitrogen and creatinine, as well as liver enzymes. Get professional clearance before you begin. This might seem like overkill for a supplement you can buy at any grocery store. But I would rather you spend 30 minutes with a doctor and know you are safe than spend 30 days in a hospital because you made assumptions about your health. Creatine is not worth risking your long-term well-being. Get the green light from a medical professional, then supplement with complete confidence. Mistake 5. Buying cheap creatine and actually poisoning yourself. This mistake makes me genuinely angry because it is completely avoidable, and yet people fall into this trap every single day because they want to save a few dollars. Let me be absolutely clear about something. The supplement industry is not regulated the way pharmaceutical drugs are regulated. The Food and Drug Administration does not approve supplements before they hit shelves. Companies are largely on the honor system when it comes to what actually goes into their products. This creates an environment where low-quality manufacturers can cut corners, use contaminated raw materials, add fillers to bulk up their products, and misrepresent what is actually in the container. When you buy that suspiciously cheap creatine from a brand you have never heard of because it was half the price of reputable products, you are gambling with the contents. Let me tell you what has been found in tested low-quality creatine supplements. Heavy metals including lead, mercury, and arsenic. Dicyandiamide, which is an industrial chemical that is a byproduct of poor creatine manufacturing. Dihydrotriazine, another potentially harmful manufacturing byproduct. Creatinine, which is the waste product that should not be in your supplement but indicates degraded creatine. Random fillers and bulking agents that dilute the actual creatine content. These contaminants are not harmless. Heavy metals accumulate in your body over time. Lead exposure affects neurological function. Mercury damages kidneys, the very organs we have been discussing throughout this video. You could be taking what you believe is a beneficial supplement while actually slowly poisoning yourself with industrial contaminants. There is also the issue of potency. Testing has revealed that some cheap creatine products contain significantly less actual creatine than the label claims. You might be paying for 5 grams per serving, but actually getting 2 grams of creatine and 3 grams of filler. This explains why some people claim creatine does not work for them. It was not working because they were not actually consuming creatine. The solution is straightforward. Invest in quality, specifically products made with Creapure. Creapure is creatine monohydrate manufactured in Germany under strict quality control standards. It is tested for purity and potency. Reputable supplement brands will prominently display the Creapure logo or certification on their products. Additionally, look for products that have undergone third-party testing from organizations like NSF International, Inform Sport, or Consumer Lab. These certifications mean an independent laboratory has verified that the product contains what it claims and is free from contaminants. Yes, high-quality creatine costs more. A reputable product might cost $15 to $25 per container compared to $8 for a questionable generic brand. But consider what you are actually purchasing. The cheap option might contain heavy metals, industrial byproducts, and less creatine than advertised. The quality option contains exactly what it claims, has been verified for purity, and will actually produce the results you are seeking. This is not an area for bargain hunting. Invest in your health. Your body deserves better than discount poison disguised as supplements. Mistake 6. Expecting creatine to do your work for you. I saved this mistake for last because it is the most common, the most frustrating, and the one that leads people to make all the other mistakes on this list. You expect creatine to be a magic pill that transforms your body overnight with minimal effort on your part. Let me paint the picture I see constantly. Someone buys creatine because they saw impressive before and after transformations online. They start taking it and expect to wake up 1 week later looking noticeably different. When that does not happen, they get impatient. They think maybe they are not taking enough, so they double their dose. They think maybe they need to try different timing, so they take it with their coffee. They think maybe they bought a bad product, so they switch brands frantically. Eventually, frustrated and disappointed, they conclude that creatine is overhyped and does not actually work. Here is the truth that nobody wants to hear. Creatine is not a magic transformation drug. It is a tool that provides a modest but meaningful advantage when combined with consistent training, proper nutrition, and adequate recovery. Let me quantify what creatine actually does. Research suggests that creatine supplementation can improve strength and power output by approximately 5 to 15% compared to training without it. It may enhance your ability to perform additional repetitions at a given weight. It can improve recovery between high-intensity efforts. It supports muscle volumization, making muscles appear fuller. That 5 to 15% improvement is significant over time. If creatine allows you to lift slightly heavier weights or complete 1 more repetition each set, those small advantages compound over weeks and months into meaningful differences in muscle development and strength gains. But those advantages only matter if you are actually training hard, eating properly, and being consistent. Creatine does not build muscle. Training builds muscle. Creatine supports the process and gives you a slight edge. If your training is mediocre, creatine will make it slightly less mediocre. If your nutrition is terrible, creatine will not fix that. If you skip workouts and do not prioritize sleep, no supplement on earth will produce the transformation you want. Set realistic expectations. In the first week of using creatine, especially if you properly load, you might notice your muscles looking slightly fuller from increased water retention in the muscle cells. This is a real effect, but is not the same as actually building new muscle tissue. Over the following weeks and months, assuming your training and nutrition are dialed in, you should experience gradual improvements in strength and potentially enhanced muscle development compared to training without creatine. Visual before and after transformations take time, typically 8 to 12 weeks minimum before changes are obvious in photos. The effects of creatine are cumulative and subtle. They build over time rather than appearing suddenly. Be patient. Trust the process. Show up and train hard every session. Eat enough protein and overall calories to support muscle growth. Sleep 7 to 9 hours per night. Take your 3 to 5 grams of creatine daily with consistency. Track your progress over months, not days. And understand that creatine is one small piece of a much larger puzzle. There you have it. 6 critical mistakes that transform creatine from a safe, effective, research-backed supplement into something that can actively harm you. We covered dehydration and the kidney damage it enables. We discussed megadosing and the gastrointestinal disaster and organ stress that follows. We explained why skipping the loading phase leads to frustration and abandonment. We emphasized the importance of medical clearance for anyone with pre-existing health conditions. We exposed the dangers of cheap, contaminated products masquerading as supplements. And we addressed the mindset problem of expecting instant transformations. Remember, if you want my complete 30-day Fitness Plus Creatine combination guide that walks you through exactly how to implement everything we discussed today, including training protocols, nutrition timing, and the precise supplementation schedule I recommend, comment the word "ready" below. I personally send it to everyone who requests it. Subscribe if you want more evidence-based fitness content without the nonsense and misinformation. And hit the notification bell so you never miss a video that could transform your results. Thank you for investing your time in learning how to do this correctly. Most people take shortcuts and suffer the consequences. You took the time to understand the science, and that separates you from the crowd. Train hard, supplement smart, and I will see you in the next video.